What's up, everybody? You're back in here, Pro Football Pod. You've got Hulk and Coach. We're hanging out. AFC East continues. We've got the Jets for you today. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. 500 subscribers. We're giving away a jersey to one of you lucky viewers. TulsiRoseTea.com is the sponsor. Let's dive into it. What up, Coach? How you doing?
What's up, brother? So, Jets, man. Jets are a scary team. Jets are one of those teams that...
If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy.
Exactly.
And we talked about it pre-show, like the Jets, for me, a lot of their outlook is how I discussed the Dolphins preseason last year was everything was if Tua stays healthy, that's the Jets for me this year. If Rodgers stays healthy, like last year, they have the chance at a storybook type season, and not just because of Rodgers. This Jets defense is legit.
They were legit last year with the fact that Rodgers wasn't healthy. I mean, they were the best ranked defense in the AFC East by quite a large margin.
And then they add Javon Kinlaw and Hassan Reddick to their defense as well. Like, their safeties, for me, are probably the weakest point of their defense, but when you've got a front seven like they do and two lockdown corners on the outside, like, I know as Dolphins fans, and I see it all over Twitter, people talking about Sauce grabbing and holding and all that, and I get it. I do agree. Sauce is a little handsy, but if they don't throw the flag, you're just bitching into the wind. Like,
Yep.
That's all that really is. Like, because every team gets away with it. Sauce is just highlighted because he's hyped up and he's one of the top corners at such a young age. I get it. But
Exactly.
DJ Reed is also a baller. Like, DJ Reed causes problems on his own out there. Like, I love the Jets defense, and what they were able to bring in this offseason for the offensive side of bringing in Mike Williams, Morgan Moses at offensive tackle, Tyron Smith of offensive tackle.
Tyron
Then
Smith,
they
man,
draft Malachi Corley.
That's ridiculous that they got Tyron Smith. I realize that he's had injuries, but that's a premier left tackle. Like, that's like the Dolphins getting Armstead. Once they got Armstead, it was like,
Yeah.
okay, we've got a left tackle now. Like, now we don't have to worry about that. Even whenever he's not on the field, he's coaching up people to make it to where they're better whenever he's not able to play. It's a phenomenal
Well,
situation.
that's why I love that they drafted Olu Fashanu at
Yep.
pick number 11. Like, Brock Bowers was there for you. They didn't take the bait. They realized both of these offensive tackles are on the north side of 30. Neither one of them are going to play all 17 games. They're just not going to.
Nope.
Get the rookie in. He's got elite pass blocking ability. I love that pick for him. Like I mentioned, they brought in Malachi Corley. I like the Braylon Allen pick. He was one of our top running backs.
Braylon Allen pick.
Jordan
hated
Travis.
That's
the
scariest pick for me.
I like them getting him in the 5th round to learn behind Rodgers. Like, he was one of the top quarterbacks in the country last year before he got hurt.
I hated that one. Honestly, their first 4 picks all terrified me. The Isaiah Davis one is a little bit of a scat back speed guy, which is interesting, especially with Breece Hall.
See, I like Isaiah Davis too, but for me, with Breece Hall, now Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and they've got Izzy Abakanya that they drafted last year out of Pittsburgh, like, somebody's going to be the odd man out.
Yeah.
And but that's, you just fill them up and let the cream rise to the top.
Malachi Corley, though, is a little bit interesting for their team. Having that slot guy be a total burner like that is a little bit, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams,
he is
Malachi
dubbed
Corley.
the Yak King as well. Like, he's just thick. Like, I mean, if you weren't able to get Xavier Leggett, Malachi Corley was the discount you were looking for. Like, the dude is thick. He's got a Debo style of the way he plays the game. I think they're going to be able to work him into almost any kind of package. Mike Williams, for me, is the intriguing one. And let's go ahead and get into their ADP, because he's the one I want to talk about when we get to him. So Rodgers right now, number 19 quarterback in number 117 overall. Aaron Rodgers is going in the 10th or 11th round, and I understand he's a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an ACL injury. But if he's any kind of healthy and you're getting 80% of what you were able to have from Aaron Rodgers a few years ago, that to me is kind of insane value of him being a potential quarterback too on your roster.
Brees Hall is the second running back coming off of the board. Garrett Wilson is the eighth wide receiver coming off the board, and you're getting the quarterback for that team. And I mean, dude, they could
Such an
potentially
easy
be
stack.
the best offense in football. Like, and they're gonna do that behind Aaron Rodgers' arm. We got to see last year in the whole buildup of Hard Knocks, right before, and then Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, and it's like, oh
Yep.
man, everyone was excited about what was gonna happen.
Oh, I was so high on Garrett Wilson in fantasy last
Yep.
year because of Aaron Rodgers and the way he will just target the best receiver on the team. Like
Whoever's
he
open.
doesn't care.
Whoever's
He
open.
doesn't care. Yeah, exactly. So that, I mean, yeah, that's a great point. It's such an easy stack. Mike Williams, number 54 wide receiver, 121 overall. So you're getting him in the 12th round as well. If Mike Williams can stay healthy, that's a potential steal because I could easily see Mike Williams finish the year with 8 to 10 touchdowns.
I was gonna say, man, his touchdown
Back
count's
shoulder
gonna be
throws,
crazy.
back shoulder throws in the red zone galore, like right there at the pylon. He's got that big, thick body. Like, I mean, you're not able to get around him. He's going to post you up like he's sitting there in Madison Square Garden and just work you on the pylon. Like, if he can stay, that's my thing too with the Jets is Morgan Moses, Tyron Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Mike Williams, Brees Hall, just because of the ACL a couple years ago. Like, they've got a lot of injury question marks. So, like, health is a major factor for this
And
team.
they play in the worst stadium. 8 games a year, they
Preach
have to
it.
play in the freaking Thunderdome. Like,
Legit or like, I almost said legitimately.
I like that.
Legitimately.
Literally though, it's bad.
It's
I
the-
mean, they've got a bunch of injury history
The
already.
ACLs and Achilles get popped on that thing every single year. But
Non-contact.
Aaron Rodgers, you mentioned it, 4 plays in. We
Yeah.
watched Jalen Phillips on Black Friday absolutely wreck his Achilles just
Yep.
there in front of literally the whole world. It was the only game on. Like, when you see those injuries consistently every year, like we used to see in Washington at FedEx Field, like, you gotta do something, bro. Like,
Yeah.
we're seeing dudes are literally ending their careers on these fields out here. So that's a great point. Like, I mean, looking at it with their overall and their wins being 9.5, I'm gonna throw this one to you first. What are you thinking?
So the 9.5 is under the assumption that Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall all stay healthy.
Now,
I
not
think
to mention they have 7 primetime games this year. 7
They have-
standalone primetime games.
they have 6 in the first like 11 weeks, which is the most ever since the merger. I mean, everyone's eyes are going to be on the Jets. I think that for them to win 9 games is a definite. Like, if all 3 of those main core pieces of their offense stay healthy, if their defense stays healthy, like, it's going to be very difficult to beat them. I think that the Dolphins likely go 1-1 against them. Like, they win at home and then they lose on the road because it's just going to be such a hard place to play. Aaron Rodgers is going to have the city of New York totally bought in. They only got to see like one
Now, I will
drive
say
last
that
year.
because the Jets haven't been able to beat Tua yet. They've beaten the Dolphins, but they
Yeah.
haven't been able to beat Tua. So I won't say that till it happens, but I will be pleasantly surprised if the Dolphins do sweep the Jets.
I think that they can get 10 wins. I think that
I agree.
it's not a guarantee. It's not, but they're probably going to be looking at more 11 or 12 wins to finish the season off.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, primetime games as a fan, you love them because you get to just watch them. You don't have to worry about really scheduling too much around it. But as a player, it's a little choppy. Like, you're expecting some people to show up, and we've seen some crazy stuff happen on primetime. All 7 of their primetime games are before their bye week in week 12. So that's tough. 10 wins, I think, should be doable with that defense, with Aaron Rodgers and the weapons he has on that offense. Absolutely think it should be doable.
Does Rodgers get to play the Bears at all?
No. He does get to
That'd
play
be
the
an easy
Vikings.
win. I mean, he owns the Bears, so
Yeah,
that's a guarantee.
he does get to play the Vikings. I saw something on Twitter earlier today. My buddy sent it to me. It literally made me laugh out loud. Like, solid LOL. I forget the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of Garrett Wilson was out here playing with a pet rocket quarterback last year. And I don't know why, but that sent me. Just imagining like a pet rock out there with a football super glued to his arm, just like standing there.
That's hilarious.
No shade to you, Zach Wilson. You did all you could, buddy. Hey, guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Jets fans, take flight on you. This could maybe be a storybook season for you as long as this quarterback stays healthy.
Before we end, are you taking Garrett Wilson at wide receiver 11, and are you taking Breece Hall at running back 6 this season? Like, of those two, which one are you more likely to take at their ADP? Because I think that's the real question. Like, do I buy into these guys that are supposed to be, I mean, running back 2, running and wide receiver 8, that's huge.
All right, so Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, no.
Okay.
Like, for me, like,
there's definitely 6 or 7 other players I'd want over Breece Hall. I'd like somebody else to take him at 6 and then leave like Tyreek or...
It's one of those to where it's more of like the player and the skills tell me yes.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen him in an offense with Aaron Rodgers. Like, he very well could pop off. But then again, he could just have a very average season, and so he's overvalued there. For me, with Garrett Wilson, if I'm in a 10-team league and I'm at the back end so I can get him on the wraparound,
I mean,
as
11,
my wider...
You could get him at the end of the first, into the second, if he's the 11th player taken off the board.
So where he's at and the players around him, yes, I do like Garrett Wilson, because around him you're looking at, just depending on if people drop, Bijan, Puka, AJ Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr. So with those players in mind, if I can get Garrett Wilson and Jahmyr Gibbs, AJ Brown, Puka, Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, even Saquon, I'm pretty happy with that.
Who's the next receiver off the board? Like, because for me, it's like if I can get Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams, like, then I have this safety blanket of I know I'm going to at least have one wide receiver 1, but I could potentially have 2.
See, that's there. Where, for me, you're much higher on Devontae this year than I am.
Okay.
Like, I'm just to the point where I just don't trust the Raiders quarterbacks. And for me, Devontae was very frustrating last year. He was frustrated himself last year.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why I'm not very high on Devontae, because I just see disgruntledness everywhere.
They got the Gardner.
They do, but from everything I see and stuff, it very well could be Aiden O'Connell again.
I mean, the Raiders fans got up our ass after we put out that Raiders video.
They did not like that we said the quarterback they signed this offseason and brought in here for this coaching regime was going to potentially be the starter.
They love Aiden, and I get it. Like, I've looked into him more since, like, having some conflicting comment wars, if you will. Most of it was good discussion. The Raiders fans were actually really cool about it. If like you kind of, wanted to know more, but I mean, I don't think that Aiden O'Connell's like legit. I just definitely think that between him and Gardner, they'll have somebody that can figure it out, put the ball up 35 times a game without putting up 3 picks a game. And that's all that Devontae Adams needs to have success. Garrett Wilson's the opposite. He's only going to get his 8 targets a game instead of 15, but his are just going to be such high quality targets. All of them are going to be catchable, except for 1 or 2. And he's going to be able to score touchdowns. He's going to be able to get big, long plays. I think that I would still, like, my whole point is that if I could get both of those guys, I'd be happy with it. But Garrett Wilson still has a bunch of risk because of the same thing that happened last year could happen this year. It could happen in week 4 or week 5. Like, it doesn't have to happen on the first drive for it to totally tank his value.
That's the issue. And now, yeah, because right now their backup is Tyrod Taylor or Jordan Travis. Like, and for me, Garrett Wilson value-wise, I think I'd rather have Jordan Travis in there.
Yeah.
Because Tyrod Taylor's fantasy value would be solid, but I don't feel good about the wide receivers.
Exactly. He's going to steal a bunch of touchdowns. He is too much of a vulture for, like, his
it's also he's just uber conservative as well.
Very true. Very true.
So you're going to see a lot of screens, a lot of drags, short passes, slants. Jets fans, if you're still here with us, we appreciate you guys hanging out. 500 subscribers. We're giving away a jersey of your choice, whether it's a current player or a custom jersey. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your homies. Hit that notification bell. TulsiRoseTea.com is the sponsor. We love you guys. Peace out. Outro music for the people in New York, yeah.